He broke the law, says Scott Keller. Scott, do you want to come forward? I think you're one of the ones that's a detractor. What law did he break? What law? What law did he break? I really only want to speak to the people who are being negative. I don't mind. I don't shy away. I know Chile doesn't do this, but we ain't got nothing to hide. I want a better America. And I don't think you can have a better America when tyranny is constantly poking through the seams. Byron says, just he did behave badly in court. I agree with that. I agree. I think you should tread lightly when you're dealing with a narcissistic, parasitic functionary of the state, because you know what's going to happen. They're going to get their feelings hurt, and you may be right, but it's dangerous to be right when the government is wrong. And when you start acting on attitude and you know it's going to push buttons and throw off a whole bunch of chain of events where somebody's ego gets damaged and they feel like they got to protect themselves in the system, and you committed contempt of court. I don't see how it's going to go good for you. We all have some degree of narcissism, or we would never get up. I mean, and I'm saying that there's a level of narcissistic tendencies, but narcissism is what causes you to get up and look in the mirror and make sure your hair is straight before you walk out the door, because you don't want people to think bad of you. You don't want to be poked fun at or whatever. Or you would just wake up, not even knock the sleep out of your eyes. Everybody's got ego. Everybody's got ego. Some people have a level of ego that just seems like it's intolerable. Adding SK. What's up, SK? What's on your mind?
Oh, you know who I am. This is Scott Keller.
How's it going, man?
You know, every time I listen to you, I don't know where to laugh or call a paddy wagon. You got this theory that any law that has no victim should be abolished and no officer of the law should enforce it because the almighty Brian Young of Oklahoma, redneck Oklahoma, says so.
That's quite a few ad hominems. Is that where we're going with this conversation?
Well, that's what you think. He broke the damn law. His only mistake was he didn't have a jury trial.
Is it redneck Oklahoma? Is that how you view it?
No, inbred Oklahoma. Everyone calls it that word.
Oh, inbred. Okay, is that your opinion?
That's my opinion.
And what do you base that opinion on?
I'm a truck driver. I drive through that area. I've met many of the inbred idiots in that area.
Oh, you know for a fact that they're biologically inbred.
They act it.
Okay.
And they look it.
Okay, so you believe Chille should be in jail then?
He broke a law that's on the books.
What law did he break?
The laws he was charged with.
What law is that?
You know what he was charged with.
No, you tell me. You said he broke a law. What law did he break?
I didn't read the whole thing, but if he didn't break the law, he wouldn't have been charged with it.
So you're sure he broke a law, but you don't know what law he broke, Scott? Come on, seriously? Is that the best you can do?
You saw what he was charged with.
Wait, you just called me. You basically implied that I'm inbred because I live in Oklahoma, but you cannot substantiate your statement that he broke a law. You don't even know what law he broke.
It's just like the cop told him to back up. He moved 1 inch back, thinking it's a badass.
And what law is that, Scott?
You know, there is a lot of states. I don't know about Nevada, but a lot of states have laws that you have to be 25 feet from a crime scene while you're.
Well, he was in Nevada, Scott. So what law did he break?
The laws he was charged with.
This is Scott Keller, ladies and gentlemen. Scott Keller, who just implied that I am an Oklahoma redneck inbred, and he says that Chille broke a law, but cannot tell us what law Chille broke. Thanks, Scott. I appreciate your words of wisdom.
Hey, but just because there's no victim, don't mean you can't be charged.
Oh, I didn't say you couldn't be charged. I'm just saying it's not right. It's not in accordance with the laws of love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, gentleness, and self-control. It is a violation of the golden rule.
This country wasn't built on love, peace, and all that. It was built on war.
I thought it was built on. I don't disagree with you there, and I'm against that.
Without war, buddy, you wouldn't be standing here. We just celebrated D-Day. The last great generation kicked ass. The generation since the 1970s on up are a bunch of pansy-waist little pussies that couldn't fight their way out of a bag in war.
You know what, Major
General? We got cowards today.
You know what Major General Smedley Butler said about World War I, World War II, the Korean War, the Vietnam War, and all the other wars in between? Do you know what Major, highly decorated Marine Smedley Butler, do you know what he said about war?
War is hell. Same.
No, war is a racket. And it only
Gone.
benefits those at the top. It does not benefit the infantrymen, and it does not benefit the country that those infantrymen thought they were fighting for. Scott, you're. I hate. I love you, man, and I love you enough to tell you the truth, but you are absolutely lying. The guys fought in D-Day for bankers. They did not fight for democracy or America or freedom.
Go tell that to a D-Day vet.
I'm already telling you what the most highly decorated Marine of that time in that era said. He said war is a racket. You couldn't get more at that time. You could not get more, Scott. You could not get more highly decorated during that time than Major General Smedley Butler. That was the highest you could possibly go. And he says,
I'm not disagreeing with that. I'm not disagreeing. There's only one true war this country ever fought that was necessary.
What's that?
The Revolutionary War.
Okay, so then what? Tell me about the D-Day people. What you just made a case about D-Day.
They went. They had to do. We were bullied into that war. We were dragged in. We were attacked.
It was an unrighteous war,
Pearl
right?
Harbor.
It was an unrighteous war, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I agree with that, Scott. Yep. But it sounded like that's not the direction that you were going in when you said that.
No one likes war, but this country was still built on war.
I don't disagree with you. That doesn't make it right. Shouldn't we stand against that which is wrong?
Yeah. Sometimes you can't.
Well, I mean, maybe we agree on more stuff than we disagree on, Scott. I mean, let me ask you a question. Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
There's some what you call a victimless crime. Like, it's like me. I there's one thing I say. It's like me. I detest drugs, but to me, it's a waste of resources trying to stop people from smoking marijuana and all that. Let them. Hey, if someone wants, I say this: let the motherfuckers do up their pills and their narcotics and that. And if they OD, then fuck it. I'm not. Why should we pay? Let them die. I'm a cruel motherfucker. Why should my tax resources pay to keep these people? They shouldn't give you any of that. What do you mean? If you're going to sit there and keep polluting your body and overdosing, living off the system, you should be allowed to die. Why should I keep bringing you back? I pay my bills. I pay my taxes. You live off of me, and you think we should just keep bringing you out of a coma? You. If you want to.
So would you say that you're somebody who's against the drug war?
Oh, it's a waste of resources.
But what if somebody broke the drug war laws? Should they go to jail?
If you want those laws changed, then you got to change them. Then you got to run for office or get your congressman or whoever to change them. As long as they're on the books, they got to enforce them.
Do you believe that when injustice becomes law, resistance becomes duty?
Yep, but it's kind of hard to fight City Hall.
So you can be right in breaking a law, right? For example, if they made it against the law to harbor Jews in your house and they came door to door, would you break the law by trying to save them?
I'm already Jew.
Well, what I'm saying, my point right here, right?
Oh, yeah.
Because law, just because it's legal doesn't make it moral, right? And just because it's illegal doesn't make it immoral. So what I'm saying is, you came off right off the bat, pretty hot and heavy at the beginning of this interview. I'm glad we're having a decent conversation now. But you used a lot of ad hominems. Have I called you a name once in this interview?
Nope.
In this dialogue?
I never said you were redneck. I said most people in that state are. I've been through that state.
Well, I know, but you basically, you're condemning me for saying that if there's no victim, there's no crime. What's your definition of a crime?
Depends on, everyone's got their own definition. If someone comes into my house, should I be able to, like some people may disagree, but if someone breaks in my house, should I be able to shoot them dead?
Well, I think you should.
Really? So, depends on, depends. Like I had a guy come in my house when I was a kid, walked on the front porch and laid down.
Okay.
And my father didn't know who it was. I told him who it was. It was our new neighbor across the street. The guy missed. So, how do you think? So my father should have been able to shoot that guy.
Of course. If he comes, you mean the guy came into your house?
He came in right in the house and laid down. He was coming home from a party. He was intoxicated.
Okay, but how do you know the guy who's in your house isn't going to shoot your kids? You don't know that. So you would be perfectly within your right to take a life if you feel like your life or somebody else that you love is in jeopardy. Don't you agree?
Yep. The guy was unarmed, had nothing. He just walked in intoxicated, lay down on our couch. And when we woke him up, my father woke him up and said, "Oh, I'm in the wrong house."
I mean, thank God that happened. But in other circumstances, if something else happened, you found out the guy was disarmed and intoxicated, and if somebody killed him because he was trying to protect his family, you wouldn't hold that against somebody, would you?
No.
Okay.
No.
All right. All right. So give me what's your definition of a crime?
So, well, like someone breaking into a bank or robbing a bank or steal your car.
Okay. I agree with that, but you believe Chille should be in jail because you believe he broke a law and he committed a crime. Who was his victim? Who is Chille's victim?
There don't have to be a victim.
There doesn't have. So was there a victim in that case?
He was his own victim.
No. You can't be your own victim because you're not going to put yourself in jail. I'm saying, was there a victim? Did Chille create a victim in that situation?
He made himself a victim. He's in jail. He's
no. Did Chille?
He's a victim of his own. Listen to me. He's a victim of his own stupidity. If that was me, I would demand a jury trial. Let the jury decide. I would never put my hands of a judge to make my decision. Because there is not a judge. I don't care what judge you go in front of. I don't care from California to Texas to Oklahoma, any judge in the United States. That'd be like if you let the jury decide. Because I'm going to tell you something. Name a judge that'll find you innocent.
You and I are in agreement on that. I don't think it should have been a bench trial. I think it should have. If you're going to have a trial, it should be a jury trial. But that's kind of irrelevant. You said that,
and you don't,
wait. What do you say? It's irrelevant because you said that Chille committed a crime. And I'm just saying, what was the crime he committed? And at the top of this conversation, you said you couldn't articulate a law that was actually broken. But you're convinced that the judge made the right decision, even though you wouldn't want a judge to judge you. But you're somehow convinced that Zimmerman made the proper decision in putting Chille behind bars for 180 days. So that doesn't make sense to me, Scott. You don't trust a judge to have your fate in her hands. You'd rather turn it over to a jury trial, but somehow you think the judge made the proper decision in Chille's case, even though you don't know what law was broken or what crime was committed.
Yeah.
Can you answer that?
Nope.
Okay. Well, hey, man, thanks for coming on board, Scott. I appreciate you being here.
Yep.
Hey, I just want to read Smedley Butler because we are talking about war, and according to people who know way more about this stuff than I do, and I would refer to Major General Smedley Butler from the book War is a Racket. This is just an excerpt, but this is part of what you can expect from that book. Smedley Butler said, I spent 33 years and 4 months in active military service, and during that period, I spent most of my time as a high-class muscle man for big business, for Wall Street and the bankers. You would think if the way some people tell it, the way Biden tells it, the way Trump tells it, the way people who are constantly going to Washington, D.C. saying all these guys in World War I and World War II, the Korean War, the Vietnam War, they were fighting for democracy. You would think if that was true, Smedley Butler would say, I spent most of my time fighting for democracy. But he was saying he spent most of his time as a muscle man for big business, Wall Street, and the banksters. And if he was doing that, then his underlings who were following his command were doing that. And that's what he was directing them to do and who he was directing them to work for. This isn't me saying this. This is this guy, Major General Smedley Butler. I helped make Mexico and especially Tampico safe for American oil interests in 1914. I helped make Haiti and Cuba a decent place for the National City Bank boys to collect revenues. And I helped in the raping of half a dozen Central American republics for the benefit of Wall Street. I helped purify Nicaragua for the International Banking House of Brown Brothers in 1902 to 1912. I brought light to the Dominican Republic for the American sugar interests in 1916. I helped make Honduras right for the American fruit companies in 1903 and China in 1927. I helped see to it that Standard Oil went on its way unmolested. Looking back on it, I might have given Al Capone a few hints. The best he could do was operate his racket on 3 districts. I operated my racket, is the implication, on 3 continents. So when you have people tipping their hat to World War I and World War II veterans, and I've got nothing against the veterans, but you got to ask yourself a question. Could they have been deceived? Are they continually, perpetually being deceived? Feeding us the propagandized lie that the reason you were over there, the reason you were shooting all those bullets and dropping all those bombs and killing all those people was to spread democracy, to further freedom. Could it be that they're believing a lie? According to Smedley Butler, the answer is a resounding absolutely. Absolutely. So maybe we're continuing to perpetuate the lie. I don't have anything against Scott Keller. He came out of the gate swinging. It finally turned into kind of a decent conversation, but still, I got questions. I really don't believe Chile or the hundreds, possibly hundreds of thousands of 2.2 million people that are sitting, rotting in jail. What a waste of humanity. I don't think for a second that those guys belong there. As whatever you think about Chile or whatever you think about all those people that you feel like committed a crime, no matter what you think about them, do you really believe that they should have 100% of their freedoms taken away? I'm not in that camp. I'm not in that camp at all.